Today I'll be working on Shimo again, once again, you could say. So I'll be making a bunch of spikes, essentially, is the idea, and I have an entire new setup for this. I was hoping to use my tablet, but now I'm using my S23 today. So I have a whole new ring light, and this should remove a lot of the jank that I've had in my previous, well, streams, to say the very least. So hopefully this is a lot better. If I do sound slightly different, that's because I'm also using an actual professional mic setup at this point, not just the cell phone thing. I know that's happened a couple times where people are like, you sound different, what's going on? And this time, at least I'm not sick. It's a nice microphone. And I should also mention the music in the background is all royalty free, and you can find the links in the post description. Anyway, let's get started with this, well, massive amount of spikes I have to make, unfortunately. So I will just slightly turn the camera angle here for you guys so you can see Shimo. And that's a lot better of a transition than I've gotten in the past. So yay! This is a lot nicer to work with. So hopefully this works for you guys a lot better and you can hear me a lot clearer as well as see everything a little bit better. So wasn't exactly the device I was planning on using, but at least at this point I can get my good reference photos for Shimo with my tablet, so I don't have to squint my eyes too much on that one. And I should also announce, I'm going to basically have topics for my streams from this point forward, because a lot of it's been pretty disorganized, and I think a lot of you seem to get a big kick out of the dinosaur topics I usually discuss, so hey, Odie, thanks for joining us. Just kind of going over what we're going to be talking about today in the stream. So essentially, I'm going to be doing topics at this particular juncture. I'll just turn it over here. So essentially, we're going to do topics on different, monsters, dinosaurs, various other things that essentially the community is probably going to find fairly interesting. And I think the one for today that I'm going to settle on is more or less a fairly simple one at that, at least for me personally. Is one of my favorite mediums of, well, dinosaur content, which happens to be Jurassic Park, the book. So if you guys have any sort of, medium that you kind of enjoy, if it happens to be a dinosaur book in particular, let me know. I would definitely like to get more dinosaur books in there because those things are honestly really cool, especially the Jurassic Park version because it is far different than what the actual film is. And don't get me wrong, I do enjoy the movie. The movie's probably one of my favorites too, but upon learning the book is way better. So I won't go too far into details just yet, but you get the gist. Like, the book is quite a bit different than what you would actually see in, say, the actual film. If I were to sum up the book, it's basically like a Jurassic Park rated R version. So, yeah. But I'm working on some spikes here, so what I'm going to do first to make my life just a lot easier is remove the legs, so they're just not in the way at this point. I can basically just work with the body a lot easier at that particular point. Hey Jake, thanks for joining us. I'm going to be talking about Jurassic Park the book today, so along with working on Shimo, I have been doing a lot of research for this monster as well, but I don't want to give too much away of what my homework is coming up on this next video, so it should be coming soon. Unfortunately, I didn't get as much work done this weekend as I was personally hoping because I kind of slept a lot, but I also needed to catch up on sleep, so. Abby Rust. I can't remember. Amberly Rust. Thanks for joining us. Going to be talking about the book. So yeah, Jurassic Park is probably easily one of my favorite dinosaur mediums. As I remove legs here, there's just some plasticine clay basically kind of holding them in place with some Lego joints going on. But the book is written by Michael Crichton, and I believe it was produced just slightly before the movie was released. I think actually the movie was out before the book came. I'm not exactly 100% sure on that fact, but the book basically kind of got buried because the movie's release was so quick upon the book's release as well. So it's having some issues with this leg here. It's apparently not wanting to come out. Do not want to break any of these joints. That really sucks. That happened on my legendary Godzilla project, and yeah. There's a Godzilla torso that's just kind of laying around, so I don't want that to happen. I've already gone too far. Oh, cool. You make little projects with tape? I might have to check that out. That's really interesting. Yeah, I've been playing with plasticine clay for I don't even know how long at this point. At least when I started the channel, I said 25 years ago, and I started the channel 5 years ago. So it's been probably, yeah, pretty close to almost 30 years at this point, if not, yeah, really close to that. I don't remember when I started. It's been my favorite toy, and I've never really stopped playing with it since. But yeah, a lot of the spikes are just kind of in a weird process at the moment of basically being like armature wire. I drilled into the body a whole bunch of holes so I can basically drive the actual armature wire into, well, the, whatchamacallit, tinfoil layer. Because the vast majority of this character is actually tinfoil. So that way, you know, driving it into that essentially gives it a little bit of a cushion and more strength for it to actually last at that particular juncture. So it's not necessary, I would say, but it's definitely a good step to have to make sure your spikes are just going to be a little bit stronger, because I don't want to have any spikes breaking, because that would kind of suck having to deal with that on this character. It's happened a few times, and usually it's pretty easy to glue them back in place, but yeah, oof. What type of clay do I use? I use plasticine clay. Well, essentially, it's kind of a combination of clays, if you really think about it. This clay is oven baked clay, which is Sculpey oven baked clay. Not sponsored. Great stuff though. Whatchamacallit, I have some of it here. So this stuff basically you can cook in the oven around 15 minutes at 275 degrees Celsius. Then it becomes pretty much hard as a rock, and you can do it multiple times, which is why I'm really advocate for that stuff, because it doesn't crack pretty much. It will burn if you do it too many times in a row, unfortunately. But the plasticine clay is basically just that non-drying stuff, and that's what I'll basically make the body of. But going back to the whole, yeah, spike thing, essentially driving these into the tin foil to give it a little bit more, like, strength, give it a platform to essentially stay on, and then essentially just kind of build up the spikes from there, making a oversized white porcupine, basically, at the moment. Now, I have to remove this last leg, and then we can continue. This one was easy to come on. There. Little morbid, I know, but at the same time, this just makes him a lot easier to work with, because now I don't have to deal with the legs and fighting that the entire time, so. Shimo. Oh, the chains. Oh, DXA, just apologize. Just kind of reading over you guys in the chat. Shimo's family being Nick the Dinosaur. Love those emojis. Is that like a reference to, I know that one's been requested quite a lot in the streams. Shoot. Mecha Godzilla. Oops, I don't want to bump the microphone. Sorry, guys. Not used to having that thing hang above my head, so different setup than usual. Now I can at least read better. The heart's on my way. She was. See with her. Oh, what do I want to see with her? Honestly, for the most part, I would like to kind of see her get out of her chains, go against Scar King, because I just think that's cruel. No animal deserves that, let's be honest. So, my humble and honest opinion, I would like to see Shimo essentially kind of betray Scar King, if that makes any sense. I'm not sure if that's the way it's going to go, but I just personally find it upsetting that, yeah, it's been treated that way. So I would like to see it kind of rebel back, in all honesty, more than anything, because, yeah, that just seems overly cruel. I don't understand, don't know what Scar King's problem is, but, yeah. Hopefully it all ends well for Shimo, because I do quite like the character. She is very, very, very cool. I'm gonna start doing live when I'm at... Can't quite 100 subscribers. Okay, here's a little YouTube tip for you. For mobile streaming such as this, like on a cell phone, you essentially need a 1,000 sub count, if not more, apparently. So you should be able to probably go live on, say, a laptop using your webcam and stuff like that. You don't actually need a huge sub count for any of that. So just as a heads up, you can't essentially do it on a mobile device, which is maybe somewhat detrimental because it recommends you essentially go on that, because when you're in a mobile device such as this with a platform like Vertical, I personally don't really like it because it doesn't help with the views in the future, but you show up on the shorts feeds at that point and it seems to get a lot more views that way. So you need either extreme high number of subs, well, not extreme, but a decent amount of subs in order to go live on mobile, but you can basically go live at any point with a standard YouTube license on, say, a laptop. So since you have a webcam, you'll be able to go live on there, no problem. So hopefully that helps. I should have probably been doing live streams quite a long time ago, but I just recently kind of got the confidence to do it. I'm doing a lot of off-camera work, so I figured it'd be a good opportunity for everyone to kind of see what I work on that's not necessarily being filmed, although a lot of the time these streams usually turn into a multitasking project. So hopefully that clears things up for you, and you will be streaming soon. So we'll be back to Shimo here, just do a few minor adjustments. Luckily things are nowhere near as janky and as bad as before, so might want to turn my light setup so you guys have a little bit better lighting for the ring, but yeah, hopefully that was helpful, Jake. There's a lot of work that goes into YouTube, to be honest, a lot more than I was personally ever expecting, but yeah. Oh, you want to see her fight Ghidorah? That would be a really cool fight. If there's like a flashback, I think that would be like really cool to kind of homage how, because there's been a lot of fan theories go out there. I don't want to go too far into it because this is kind of spoiling some of my other content, but I think it would be very interesting to see like essentially a flashback of how King Ghidorah essentially ended up frozen in ice, because there's been a lot of interesting theories around that. So, and who else do we got in the chat here? Godzilla Boost 678. Thanks for joining us, and hello to you too. Nuclear crabs. Some interesting emojis you got going on there. Fanfane 12? Hopefully I'm saying your name right. I apologize if I butcher anyone's names terribly, because yeah, I'm a little dyslexic. Reading is not necessarily my strong suit. Hello, Holly girl. So, I also have a small petting zoo, so from time to time we're probably going to have some pet visits here. I'm going to say hi to the camera. Oh, look at that big smile. Yes, and there's my massive clip inventory. As you can see in the background, I have quite a lot of plasticine. Yeah, I know, sweetie. Hello. What else we got here? I'm working on a... Okay. Yeah, you might want to get a laptop or something like that, or a webcam of some sorts. I don't know if you'll be able to actually go live at that particular juncture, because yeah, YouTube has a bunch of weird restrictions for mobile live thing. I think it's mainly to kind of keep a lot of spam and various other things out from people essentially taking advantage of it, and yeah, it's a little sad, but it does kind of make sense in the long run. I'm just going to place these legs over here behind my zombie. Hopefully I do not forget where those are later on. Happens from... Oh, jeez. Okay, I'm going to move the mic up a little bit. I keep bumping it. Sorry, guys. Not used to this setup yet. Still experiencing some minor technical difficulties. Puppy. Yeah, she's a big puppy, I'd say. Holly girl's 100 pounds of poopy. Hey? Yeah. Big silly girl. So what I'm going to do for the spikes here, I'll get back to some of you guys in the chat here as soon as I can, is basically, they're already kind of driven in, so I approximately get how much clay I'm going to need with that section. Kind of pinch off the excess that I don't need. Then pull out the spike, or the armature wire for the said spike, and then just kind of blend it in. I might get Fufu. She is kind of hanging out about. She is doing okay today. That's my older pug, so sometimes she's here, sometimes she's not. Mr. Mittens isn't really allowed in here. He was peeing on things, so he's been kind of banished from the studio at this particular moment. He's my polydactyl cat that I usually sculpt with, but yeah. Was very pleased about that one. Can't do that, buddy. But, yeah. So, topic of the day is Jurassic Park the book, which is personally one of my favorite actual mediums, so I'll kind of discuss that a little bit. I'm not sure if many of my viewers have unfortunately probably ever seen or heard of that actual piece of medium, and it is perhaps a little bit shocking because it is far more graphic than the actual movie, so to speak. However, it is probably far more accurate as what you would get in a real Jurassic Park, like Nedry, for example. I'm just not sure if everyone's familiar with who that is exactly. That is the nerdy character that essentially did the whole coding for the gate thing, and it was like, you didn't say the magic word, so the big fat nerd guy. It's kind of a crude description. I do apologize for that, but I think it's the best way to sum him up. It's the way his character was in the movie as well. At any rate, Nedry gets eaten by a Dilophosaurus, and in the movie, the Dilophosaurus is quite a bit, well, smaller in comparison to what they did in the book, which is kind of a weird scenario for Jurassic Park if you think about it, because, yeah, 9 times out of 10, they like to make the dinos a lot bigger. So what I'm doing right now, too, is just using a rubber sculpting tool and reaching in between basically everything, kind of blending into that spike to the rest of the body. At any rate, the Dilophosaurus was done quite a bit smaller in the movie in comparison to the book. The book, it was 10 feet tall, which is a far more accurate interpretation of what this animal probably would have been like size-wise. And it basically tears them apart. It is very, very graphic. I won't go into too much details, but the movie, you get a Jeep shaking around, and they'll put it this way. Nedry does not really walk away in one piece. He ends up holding parts of his own body. It's kind of messed up. So maybe one day I'll do some like stop motion animations in regards to, like, say, keeping the Jurassic Park book accurate, if that makes any sense. No Doug yet. He is technically top of the leaderboard. We'll get there, though. A couple other things in the chat here, just kind of weasel my way in. I just pulled my laptop a little bit closer. Okay, hey baby, puppy. Pro Vader, hey. Shimo, yes, that's what we're working on, is a Shimo. I'm just kind of going through. Thanks for joining us. What else we got here? We got one from Godzilla Boss. What would you do if Destroy went into the Monsterverse? Oh, Destroy? That would be an interesting concept. I don't know if Destroy would ever really show up in there, but that'd be very interesting to actually see the Monsterverse take on that monster, to be honest. It's a concept I haven't actually never thought of. What else here? So yeah, I think it'd be... I've heard a lot of rumors about there being other variants of King Ghidorah, which I would be really cool or excited to see because I'm a huge King Ghidorah fan. He's probably my favorite nemesis of Godzilla. However, yeah, the original character that he is essentially based off of, I don't know if I want to make that because it's an 8-headed dragon. Making 3 heads was hard enough, to say the very least. So, yeah. Ooh. An 8-headed dragon be something I might take a hard pass on at that point. I'll just pretend to be like, yeah, no, no. Maybe not. Not this time. Oop, that's a skull. I don't want to smush that. Look at Grand King Ghidorah. He's like one of the four-legged versions, if I'm not mistaken, hey? There's been quite a few different iterations of him. I'd like to make more, but yeah. I just remember that project was really difficult, so I'm kind of like, oh god, I don't know. However, he is probably one of my most viewed character builds so far. But yeah, I legit, I know I've said this a lot on the stream, but I got nightmares during that project. It was bad. Yeah. Woke up in the middle of the night trying to find a light switch for my studio because I thought I was working on a three-headed dragon. That's, yeah, it was rough. Oh yes, Yamato oh god, I can't, it's been a while since I said that name. Yamato Uruchi. I probably butchered that. I don't have a script, unfortunately, with the live stream here, but yeah, the 8-headed dragon was essentially what that character was based off of, and they thought that was just way too difficult to actually make, so they went with a 3-headed concept, which personally I'm kind of glad about. However, seeing how we're kind of talking about books and stories, that is another one that I definitely would recommend because the original story is actually really interesting. It's kind of one of those things where I immediately finding out that that was part of King Ghidorah's history, I basically decided, yeah, we're gonna go do that deep dive. Foghorn Monster is probably another one that would be very interesting for the community to check out because I can't remember the author's name on that book though, but essentially that's kind of said to be inspiration for Godzilla as well. And the monster of 20,000 Fathoms Under the Sea, which I've gotten a couple of requests for. That would be a really cool one to make, actually, because he's got 4 legs very similar to Shimo. Yes, the Beast of 20,000 Fathoms. I really like that monster. I'm actually surprised, yeah, I did a little bit of like keyword research on that kind of stuff, and it actually does seem to get a decent amount of views, so definitely at some point I need to make one of those. Because let's be honest, Godzilla versus the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms would be a pretty cool fight. A long time since I've seen that movie, though. I can't remember if that... I don't think that monster actually breathes fire or anything like that, but... Can't recall. I know the Foghorn Monster, he doesn't. He just attacks the lighthouse and destroys it. Well, the senior representative of the lighthouse is all just kind of nonchalant. Yeah, this happens every year. And then you guys just freaking out. Like, what? Are you kidding me? So, yeah, that's definitely a good book. If you haven't checked that, that's a short story. The Jurassic Park book is obviously quite a bit longer, but I personally really love it. It's definitely worth the listen. Okay, we got some more Godzilla stuff. A lot of Godzilla fans here. I don't think I'm going to be able to stay on topic with dinosaurs too much. That's okay. Huge monster fan anyway. Hey, that rhymed. Didn't mean to. What Godzilla monster should return in -1 sequel? Oh, okay. Actually, yeah. I have an interesting film theory about that one too, which I don't want to give too much away up until I start making Shin Godzilla. That kind of gave things away, unfortunately. But I have a feeling, given his strange regenerative abilities, for lack of a better term, or the way he's able to heal himself and morph things, I got a feeling that, you know, this is kind of like the old version. We saw him as the Dinosaur, which then turned into the Godzilla, which is more recognizable from a traditional film standpoint, and then he turned into possibly something else further along the future, which is my sneaking suspicion. Which is just a theory, film theory, but I think it might be, might kind of hold true to that whole thing, because it would kind of make sense. Kingzilla! Hey, thanks for joining us. No, you're in quite early. I started on time today, at least I wasn't late. So, You can all, if you appreciate me showing up on time, hit that like button. So yeah, we get a couple more boosts in here. I see we only got 3 at the moment. So yeah, hearts or whatever kind of makes you guys go off. Yeah, cool. What else have we got here? Got a couple messages from Jake and Godzilla Boss. Would you make Warbat? Okay, that's been requested a few times. Yes, that one hasn't been requested for a while. I think it's around mid-range on my leaderboard right now. Kind of need to make a community post so that way everyone kind of knows where things are at. Than just kind of making notes in my old iPhone every time I get requests, basically. Which used to be the streaming phone, but that's had some audio problems, unfortunately, so, yeah. Can't trust that old device anymore. That was kind of my hope, was that it was going to be the live stream one, but yeah, oh well. These devices have better cameras as is, so it's probably better off that I use them. I probably should have started with an actual decent tripod setup as well, but one step at a time. Streaming. Doesn't sound very nice to your brother there, Jake. Slightly concerning. Would you make Kong? Yes, Kong is probably amongst top 3 or 4, give or take, right now. Probably try to keep like a lot of the chat requests to a minimum. I'd like to try and keep things a little bit more topic based. We'll more or less count the comments in the normal videos, because yeah, I noticed with the chat sometimes it gets to the point where it's like, oh my god, too much, I can't keep up, guys, oh my god. So hopefully you kind of understand that, but if yeah, there's like a big request such as Doug, for example, that obviously will be pushed forward at that particular juncture. Maybe it's me. Something gaming. I'll get distracted easily. Pink Godzilla. Oh, Gamer Bros, okay. You're just switching profiles, I see. Yeah, I got a couple different ones too. Mainly for keyword researches, where I basically don't actually type in anything. That's another probably handy YouTube trick for a lot of you beginner creators. Kind of have an account that basically has no search history, so you can kind of see what pops up on the normal feed, and you kind of base things off that. I've had a lot of really hard lessons through this, and we've kind of I've now gone down a monster Godzilla rabbit hole, which I don't think we're going to be escaping anytime soon. But oddly enough, I started with doing claymation cars, which don't really do a whole lot. They get blown up by my monsters now, but that's aside the point. That stuff probably taught me how to do a lot of the smoke animations, actually, more than anything. Which is using cotton for basically burnout smoke. My favorite kaiju is King Ghidorah, Pro Vader. Yeah, that's good choice. Like, honestly, King Ghidorah is really, 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 really cool. The sound effects for him are really awesome too. Something actually I kind of like always wondered. I don't know how that's been actually accomplished here. Because I know Godzilla was basically used with like a double bass, which was really interesting. Oops, I keep hitting Godzilla. Need a bigger studio. That'll probably be a project either streamed or videotaped at some point too, so things have been growing quite a lot here the last little bit, so I'm running out of space. Hey Blaze Man, thanks for tuning in. Lego Brick Fan, thanks for joining us. Got quite a few. Sorry if I'm struggling to keep up with you guys, trying to get things done too at the same time. Don't know where the camera angle should be kind of placed at. I'll just post it on me, where that way you can know I'm actually kind of focusing on you guys. Goes the laptop too far. I'm not getting any younger. Godzilla has it all. My phone died. Find a charger. I have like so many chargers around my house at this point, just ridiculous. It kind of sucks. The amount of devices I have to plug in now before I have to go to bed. I have like this phone, that phone, laptop, Wi-Fi speakers. Yeah, list goes on. Kind of sucks, but I suppose it's kind of cool. At least I don't have to plug in the mic. It just has to be hooked up to the thing. Cat or dog? Oh, what's better, cat or dog? I have both. Honestly, I can't really make that decision. Probably more of a dog fan, to be honest. But, yeah. They both have their perks. I love them both. But I've had dogs literally my entire life, so I don't think I've ever had... Yeah, I don't remember there not being dogs around, so... Godzilla boss. I'll get to you here. Sorry, buddy. There's a lot of stuff going on. Jimmy Kong, the Red Rex from JP novel. Red Rex. I don't know if I exactly remember that one. Is that the younger one? Because there was like a multiple T-Rexes in that too. I remember. It's been a while. I've listened to the book probably like 4 or 5 times, so I should know that off by heart at this point. You would think, but apparently not. Yeah, I'm a dinosaur nerd. Can you tell by the hat alone? I mean, actually, my shirt's also dinosaur related. On top of that, I have a T-Rex on right now, so... Ah, the juvenile. Okay, yeah, it is the younger Rex then. Okay. That was in the boat chase scene, if I do recall correctly. Like, that was actually a really, really, really epic chase scene from what I recall. I'm just going to make some adjustments here so I can interact with you guys just a little bit better and kind of work on things hopefully at the same time. But yeah, the juvenile Rex was the one that was in the actual river chase scene, which is something that kind of got completely cut from the original film, unfortunately. The book had it, and it kind of got integrated, I think, more or less into the second film, which was Jurassic Park, The Lost World, the second one, which I don't mind that movie, but I'm not a huge fan of that one in comparison. I like the third one a little bit more, as weird as that sounds, because that was not as popular. But it had a Spinosaurus, and that's my favorite dinosaur, so I got brownie points from there, which, yeah, I think that's probably why. I liked it more. Personally, it was just like, yeah, that's cool. Okay. Might not be canonly accurate, but I'll be honest, I'm already well aware of all the inaccuracies, that it wouldn't have won that fight more than likely, but still, it was cool, so I don't care. Are you on the first day release GXK? I'm hoping I can see it in time. That was really late on -1, to be honest. I didn't watch that till, yeah, like probably almost 3 weeks after it was released, and I had a bunch of people just commenting and like, hey, did you see this? I'm like, no, I haven't. Please don't spoil anything yet. So hopefully I can get to this one on time. I think it's this weekend. Like, yeah, it's like really soon, so that'll be interesting. If I don't do any posts that day, we all know what I'm doing. I'm watching the movie, so I'll try. I usually try to plan ahead on a lot of that stuff, but it doesn't always happen. But usually because I end up passing out because I don't sleep enough. What else we got here? I like lizards and sharks and dinosaurs. Lizards, sharks, and dinosaurs. All the reptiles, those are pretty cool. Sharks are really cool. I like sharks. That's actually a rabbit hole that we could go down at some point during a stream. Your favorite sharks and stuff like that. I don't know if we want to dive down there right now, pun intended, but my favorite one is, no, what is it called? Shoot. It's an old, we're going way back in time to the Permian period at this particular juncture. So that's for approximately 350 to 450 million years ago. So well before any dinosaurs were walking on this planet. Oh shoot, what is it called? Helicoprion, that's it. Yes, Helicoprion, or the buzzsaw shark. So I'll just kind of look up a couple images for you guys, because this thing is way too cool, kind of not to actually share images of if you haven't seen it, because it's going to be one of those things that, yeah, really sticks with you. And it used to be apparently the size of a great white shark. It was big, and it had just this weird... I really want to make one of these one day, because it's just one of the strangest looking animals you have ever seen. It's got like a buzzsaw, for lack of a better term, as a mouth. For the people that know what I'm talking about, obviously, yeah, you kind of know it says it in the name, right? But basically, its root of the tooth entirely curls up into its mouth, so its lower jaw is like this big giant spiral of teeth. So I'll just look up a quick image here for you guys. Helicoprion. And believe it or not, it was like I believe the original fossil specimen for this creature was found by a miner, and he just used the piece as a doorstop for a very long time. But this is what your Helicoprion essentially... Okay, this isn't going to be as good as I hoped, but hopefully you guys can kind of get an idea of what that is. You can kind of... Oh god, there's so much lights in the studio. Get a little darker here for a few minutes, but you can kind of see essentially it's got that weird spiral. And that's essentially one root for the tooth, and it has a bunch of teeth just forming on the edges of it, creating like a buzzsaw. And it's thought that it would eat a lot of squid, kind of like in that, little diagram there, where it's just chewing it and essentially shoving these things down into its mouth, like really kind of nightmare fuel. Creepy shark, but at the same time too, very, very cool. So yeah, sharks would be an interesting rabbit hole to go down. I would love to talk about sharks at some point. So... obviously, there's the Megalodon too, but I like the weird prehistoric animals, the ones that are usually lesser known. So if you guys have any weird ancient prehistoric animals that you happen to really like, put those in the chat below there. So yeah, that way I'll look into it. We've had a couple mammals and stuff like that in the past, which has been really cool. Campus. What dinosaur would you like to see if they use real life creature? Oh, what dinosaur would I like to see if it was actually real, I think is what you're asking? Oh, that's a tough question. That's a really popular one on this particular podcast that I like to listen to. Like, if you go back in time, which one would it be? Probably Spinosaurus. It is my favorite dinosaur, and the last, like, year and a bit, there's been a ton of controversy amongst that particular creature. I've noticed, like, the amount... whether or not it actually swam is a big question, apparently. So I find that very interesting. I would like to just basically see this thing in its natural environment, so I'd know whether or not it actually, a lot of these accusations about this creature are true or not, essentially. So I think Spinosaurus next to Argentinosaurus would be another one I'd really want to see, because, yeah, Argentinosaurus is extremely cool. Because it's so big. I just can't believe something that massive ever walked on our Earth, to be quite honest. Very cool. Oh, the shark, yeah, I like those things. Hopefully, yeah, I should probably make one someday. It'll never honestly be one of those things that gets high request numbers, because no one's ever really heard of it. But, yeah, I think it would be a really interesting project to actually make at some point. Gonna adjust things here so I can actually sit properly. That way you guys can see Milton and a couple other... Oh god. Keeps falling. Apologize. At least it's slightly better than it has been. I'll admit that. Doesn't want to stay still though. Bad light. Probably having this cord tugging on it's not helping either for the microphone, but... EGW! Hey, thanks for joining us. I'm having some issues with my phone not wanting to stay still in my new tripod that I just bought for all this, so bear with me, guys. Don't want to put spikes down that way. Stay! At least I don't have to worry about falling. That won't happen again. It shouldn't. That being said, I am a little... It's not the best quality setup. It was a lot more than probably should have paid for it, I'll put it that way. Oops. I'm trying to go through some of the old chats here with the laptop. Starting to lose those in the cell phone, so just bear with me here. What is my biggest project? My biggest project has definitely been King Ghidorah so far. He was 11 pounds of plasticine clay, 3 identical heads, stands 16 inches tall with a 25.5 inch wingspan. So he's really big. The wings alone are probably, yeah, at least a pound and a half each, which is going to cause a lot of problems for future animations, but I'll fake it till I make it with that character. Gaming with Adrian. Thanks for joining us. I see you got a couple other things down there. I got the battle. Oops, I don't know what you mean by that, but what's up? Cinemis. Yeah, I can't pronounce. I don't know what that. I'm not sure if that's a fan 12. I'm not sure what you're trying to get at with the Shimishu. Yeah, God. What can I ask? What's the biggest one? I already answered that. You got a battle. You got a battle road Scar King toy today. Oh, you got a okay. You got a Scar King toy. That's pretty cool. There's actually quite a lot of really cool Godzilla toys out there. I've noticed that I've wanted to try and get my hands on. Particularly the remote one. That I can't remember what toy company makes that, but yeah, the one that you can add a little bit of water on top of his head. He has got like his own reservoir, so you can basically make him do atomic blasts. But yeah, for people just kind of joining in, still working on spikes here, slowly but surely. And just using some oven baked clay and just driving them with a little bit of reinforcements with armature wire here, just the 16 gauge, nothing too thick. The vast majority of the clay is going to basically hold them in place. You don't necessarily probably need the armature wire. It's more or less just a fail-safe on my behalf because I'm going to be playing with them quite a lot. So I don't really want to have to fix more things than I already have to, right? I think I answered your question though already, Lego Brick fan there, which was King Ghidorah, but we'll see if Shimo ends up taking that place. Good chance Shimu's going to be surpassing King Ghidorah in size, I would imagine, to be honest. Did you... Yeah, I have to look up that name there. Did I do G something? Yes. Okay. Yeah, sorry if I missed you guys. If any in the chat, don't be shy to talk amongst each other either. You all seem to be monster-loving dinosaur nerds, such as myself, so... Let's get some prehistoric animal requests going on in the chat, because that was honestly a lot of fun. Last time, I really enjoyed that quite a bit, talking with you guys amongst your favorite dinosaurs and stuff like that. I already did. Okay, yeah, I know. Sorry for repeating myself on that. Got to look up this name. G by EGW. I'm a very visual person. Obviously. Probably why I'm good at sculpting, because I'll usually just really look at something or an object and I can kind of know how I would have to make it. That's probably not what you are requesting. G-O-R-E. George. Are we talking like Peppa Pig or Curious George? Because I don't know if that's gonna be. Yeah. Not sure if that'll really happen, to be honest. I think monsters and dinosaurs are pretty much the vast majority of my audience, so that's probably a vast majority of the requests that we'll be sticking with at this particular juncture. I used to make cars, but that's really gone out the window, so I'm not sure if that was the correct character, but George from Rampage. Okay, that makes things clear. Cause yeah, I was looking at it, I'm like, I really don't think that's the elephant bird. What version of King Ghidorah? The Monsterverse version is probably my favorite of King Ghidorah. Although I do have to admit some of the homage must go to the original version because that's really cool. The guy in the suit for that particular monster must have had a really tough time, I would imagine. That probably wasn't a lot of fun. But now I'm gonna look up George from Rampage here. G-E... Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, that's a lesser known film. Okay. Rampage. Jeez. Apologize, guys. I'm not exactly a thesaurus, but that would actually be a really cool project. I probably would do King Kong first because that's obviously a much more popular monster, so to speak, or more requested. But yeah, I think the crocodile from Rampage in particular, I would definitely get a kick out of making one of those in particular. Mainly because it reminds me of one of my favorite SCPs, 632, the zombie crocodile, which I think would also be a very fun project, so... Yeah, cool. I will add him to my list. I think he's been requested a couple times, but I don't think I have him on there yet, so I'll give him a couple points for that. Oh, where do I put this thing now? I need more shelves! But yeah, back to spikes. Or back spikes. So, rubber sculpting tool is definitely going to be your best friend when you're making these things, in my opinion, because there's just so many that there's no way you're going to be able to get your finger in there without damaging the spikes, such as that. Luckily, these things are a lot less complicated than Godzilla spikes. That I'm thankful for. There seems to be an overwhelming amount of them, however, which I'm not a huge fan of, but... Nearly there. Nearly there. I think some of these are getting too big, because it tends to kind of get really small at the end, so... Labyrinth of tools everywhere. There are my clippies. What Ray Harrison creature is my favorite? Probably 20,000 Fathoms. That one's pretty cool. Although the Cyclops, that would be another one that was really epic. So. Also, I remember admiring the Hydra a lot from whatchamacallit, that one film as well. Damn it. You're probably the same person that, yeah, you are the same person that pointed out to me last time, but I'm gonna look. This is bugging me. I should know the name by now. Oops. Yeah, it's a VHS. Yeah, this is probably one of my more favorite movies growing up too. Sinbad. I don't remember it being Sinbad, but yeah, that one had some pretty cool stop motion in it too. Had a lot of skeletons, particularly. I think that was probably the thing that stood out to the most people, but definitely the 20,000 Fathoms monster, I think, is my favorite from that. Oh, Minecraft. Okay. That would be kind of interesting. Actually, I am a big Minecraft fan. I don't have time to play video games as much as I used to, but that was actually a game that I kind of enjoyed just because it was very creative and you got to it's like playing with Legos on a video game, basically. So, I always found it really interesting. I do have apparently a Game Pass on this thing, my new laptop, which I'm referring to, but I haven't even used it, so probably maybe someday in the future. I'm not sure when I'll have time, but I'm always seem to be behind schedule. Made a stop motion video today with characters moving. It's I know wonky. And some press. Okay. Having some jank issues with animations. My recommendation for stop motion in particular, go really slow, really slow. I mean, depending on the character, if you're say doing a car that's speeding up, then you have to gradually kind of make your motions faster as time progresses, along with say a character throwing a punch or something like that. You usually kind of start out slow and then you speed into it. But whatchamacallit, stay focused. I got too many things trying to focus on. Yeah, try 2 and 24 is the best frame rate that you can generally use. I used to use 3 and 30 FPS, but it kind of gave me that same weird janky appearance where things just looked a little off. So hopefully that helps you out. Set your frame rate to 24 and take 2 pictures per movement. Sometimes you can go a little faster. Again, single movements work really best for punches or really speeding something up, but you have to be careful with that one too. I personally like working with 2 frames because it just gives me a little bit more security. It's kind of the way I feel about it. Jason and the Argonauts. Yep, thank you. Damn it. Jurassic World quiz. What is Rexy's opposite girl? What? Got a JP quiz here, so I want to pass that. Okay, can't scroll down on that. What is Rexy's? She is a girl, technically, in the movie. I can't remember her original name. It starts with a B, but like the animatronic version, because they had a giant real one. Gamerzilla 2023, thanks for joining us. Kind of going over a lot of different dinosaurs and monsters. The typical stuff for the stream, I think, is the best way to put it. I do 2 frames sometimes when I... Okay, cool. Yeah, I recommend 2 and 24. That's what most like CG artists you'll see actually use. They use 2 and 24 FPS a lot of the time as well. So it's a lot more work. Things take a lot more length at that particular time with, you know, working in that sort of frame rate, but it does look a lot smoother, so it is worth it in the end, in my opinion. I think it was Aardman Animation, which is where I got my original frame rate, were some of my earlier cartoons where I do 3 and 30. That was what apparently they use. I'm not sure if they actually still do that. I think it's 2 and 24 now, but I remember hearing that from one of the bigger studio names at some point, and that's why I originally stuck with that. And it, yeah, didn't work out as well as I would like it. So now I do 2 and 24, and it just takes way longer, but it looks way nicer.
It all started in our kitchen. Just us, giving the best spades in town.
Alright. Now I'm ready to start kind of reducing the spike sizes at this point, at least. Oh, you're a dinosaur stop motion YouTuber. Cool. I kind of fall under that same category, although I haven't really played around too many times with my dinosaurs, unfortunately. That needs to happen soon. I really want to make this is a future project, but I really want to make a film set, basically, for my dinosaurs. 3 in total, basically one representing each time period, where one you would have your Triassic, then Jurassic and Cretaceous periods essentially would be the idea, because every single one has different plant faunas and stuff like that, right? So always found, yeah, I think that would be really cool. Be a lot of work and kind of almost unnecessary, because I imagine the Cretaceous one would probably get used a lot more, but you get the gist of it. Oh, you do? Okay, cool. There's a lot of... I need to do more stop motion with my dinosaurs, but there's been so much craze around Godzilla and... yeah, Monsterverse. It's been... yeah, a lot of trend hopping, more or less. I kind of hate to say it, but it's usually not my normal forte. It's been doing pretty good for the channel, though, I must admit, so... but... yeah, I definitely, at some point here, will be getting into more dinosaur-related content, because I'm huge dinosaur dork, and want to do more animations with them, although I admit, with a lot of the theropods, I find it really difficult not to have that big, ugly support rod, which is a big deterrent, because I hate that, but I don't think anyone seems to complain about it too much, but it's just me kind of going, it's not the way I would like to see it. Which is why most of my characters, especially Shimo here, now have an immense amount of tinfoil, basically. Because it keeps the weight down and saves you a lot on plasticine clay. Oh, tripod. Okay. Actually, there's a couple hacks for that one. I kind of have them handy here. I might have to kind of reach across, but if you have Lego at home, that's a good hack. I'll put it that way. I have this tripod. I have a tripod back there now. I have a small one for my phone, and I have like a selfie stick on top of it all. But I started out with just these tripods over here. And they look really butchered. So, my guys might judge me a little bit on this, but they're basically just Lego. With a little cell phone attachment, you can get a long ways away with just stuff like this, because you can basically build it up and use clay to kind of help hold it still. So, hopefully that helps. If you have Lego, most people have Lego kind of kicking around. Seems to be one of the most popular toys amongst the world. I remember looking up some weird statistics for Lego at one point, where it's like X number of pieces per person in the world. But that is my recommendation. That, or get one of these things. These are pretty handy too. It's like 30 bucks, and you can go a long ways with this. However, it doesn't hold as well as they advertise. I'm sorry guys, but it doesn't hold up 7 pounds. I can't wrap this around a tree and it's gonna hold my cell phone. I don't trust it that much. Put it that way. Can't send links. Like you can't, I'm not sure what you're referring to there. Like I could probably send links in the chat, probably, is what you're referring to. That, I haven't, yeah, I'm pretty new to all this. That's a concept I haven't really thought of. Could probably do that. If you want like links for the book, I could try doing some experimenting there and see if I can find a couple of the audiobook copies on here, for example. So, yeah, I know my description needs to be cleaned up on this too, because I don't have a lot of room for links, unfortunately, either. I end up deleting a lot of stuff every time. Okay, so you can't. I don't know if you're able to actually add links to the chat. Is what you're referring to? That sounds like I'd have to go through the settings on my end then, probably for future streams. Can you watch my stop motion videos? I'll try to get around to it after the stream now. Usually pretty busy. I want to get this character. It's not going to happen. Done by Tuesday. Maybe probably Wednesday or Thursday, but yeah. Ended up sleeping a lot this weekend. I apologize, guys. But it was a necessary evil. Kind of felt like garbage. But kind of need a Shimo reference. I'm going blind at this point. I don't like it. Okay. Yeah, it's probably a setting on my end because I'll admit, I don't know if I'll be able to actually really do a whole lot of adjustment here at this point, seeing how we're already going. Oh, it says edit. See if I can make any adjustments for you here. Stream. Okay, actually I do have all the options here. I'm still pretty new to all this. I mean, I've done a couple streams at this particular juncture, but I am by no means a tech whiz, unfortunately. I've gotten a lot better over the years because of all of this, but not fantastic. I wish I knew more. I'd probably have to go into customization because it doesn't seem. I don't see anything about links and stuff like that, or chat settings in the details section here of the video. Try my customization features, but this is probably something I'll have to do a little bit more. Yeah, no, I don't see that either. Just give me a point of reference to what you guys are talking about here in the chat quick. I'll make a quick jot note for what you guys want me to check out. I imagine you're probably trying to send links to videos and stuff like that for your guys' channel, but yeah, I can't find anything right now here. I don't want to just accidentally close out of the stream either, so I apologize. Maybe next time. That sounds like something I'm gonna have to kind of go through on my settings a little bit here. Shimo. Ice Titan. Actually, I have saved images. Amongst other photos in here that I have saved, some old dude with a burrito. I'm like, what? No, that's got nothing to do with monsters, but okay. Old conversation with a friend of mine or a coworker. Yeah, I apologize you guys can't send links or anything like that. But yeah, maybe next time, make me next time. But I'll get back to a little bit of spike production here. Usually I'm not very productive on my streaming. Hi, Sweet Pea. Yeah? Hello, Holly. Want you to say hi? Yeah, who's a good girl? I'll let you out in a bit, okay? In a bit, darling. Ugh. That spike is way too tall for my liking. I generally am that kind of picky. I usually go through each individual spike and make it according. I probably don't need to do that, but something I do. Now you all know. Can you at least search up Godzilla man suit? I will add that to my... Well, on the tablet here right now, so... Yeah, I can't... I don't know where the link section stuff would be. I don't know if YouTube is... It could be an automatic thing that YouTube generally does. They just don't really allow that kind of stuff. But... Yeah, again, I'm pretty new to all this. I'll have to do a little bit of homework after... after the stream, because that would make life a lot easier if you guys can actually send links to things. That way I'd just be able to directly click on it and then, yeah, check it out from there. The only issue with that is I do have to probably be careful about certain copyright stuff at that point, which is why I use royalty-free music, which is in the background, and all the links are in the post description. Please don't say anything to me, guys, or copyright the video. Anyway, go to my main account here and look that up. I think you're talking about, like, the... whatchamacallit? Like, there's a weird analog, horror thing going on for Godzilla for a while, with the man in the suit. That was pretty popular. I remember I wanted to kind of check that out, but... I'm looking at it. I mean, I probably won't. I won't show it on stream because, yeah, then again, because I don't know what's going on with that video, because that just sounds like a copyright claim kind of waiting to happen. Certain things are obviously public domain and stuff like that, obviously, but again, yeah, there's a lot of weird copyright laws to that kind of stuff that I generally just like to avoid. The man in the suit. Okay, yeah, it is the analog horror thing. Yeah, I'll have to binge that after I'm done the stream here. It's been on my to-watch list for a while, but I haven't actually checked any of that out. It's kind of an interesting concept, because, yeah, obviously it's homaging the original Suitmation characters, right? So... I'm not a walking thesaurus, man. I don't know anything about that kind of stuff. I apologize, guys. Get to the party on that one, I know. I tend to look up a lot more dinosaur-related things, so a bit of a dinosaur dork. But yeah, I'll definitely check that out. We'll probably make that my next stream topic. I could probably end up watching that stuff too, because it probably is okay because it is general public stuff. But again, I'll have to do a little bit of homework on that stuff before I start just kind of reacting to things. Got more search requests. We got a dinosaur fight one. That one sounds kind of interesting. Yeah, I almost kind of wanted to just see if I can do like a reaction to a lot of these videos at this point. I might just kind of almost put it off and see if I can just do a reaction stream for you. As terrible as it is, I'm not a huge fan of that subgenre cult like content, mainly because I'm more or less the creative aspect of things, obviously. But I'll see what I can do. I think, yeah, we might make this either a topic or might end up just kind of streaming it. We'll see. I need to do more research. Can't just dump things on the fly like that necessarily. Yeah, it's a very scary concept. Like, yeah. So I'm just kind of playing around with some smaller spikes here at this moment. That is way too big. So just make these tiny little ones that basically fade off into the back. So kind of just playing with making these while trying to get caught up on some of the chat here. Oh, Poppy Playtime request. That would be actually probably a really good idea. I've thought about that one more than once. Because, yeah, the numbers. I was like, whoa. Yeah, we'll see that. Because I honestly think that would be... Some of those characters done in stop motion would be very, very, very creepy. I think, yeah. We might dive down that rabbit hole at some point here. Once the craze for all this Godzilla stuff is obviously over, because kind of in the midst of all that, obviously. So, but yeah, I think doing some Poppy Playtime characters would be really interesting for stop motion. Probably, yeah, more stop motion horror genre. It's been a while since I've done like a true creepy stop motion video. Probably ever since like the really beginning of this channel. So I could probably do, well, not, I guess if you count my Wendigo fight, that one's pretty creepy, but not sure if you guys have seen that. SCP-323 versus SCP-049. It's an old video I did a long time ago. Kind of the early phases of my monster craze, you could say. What other link do you guys want me to look up here? It was a dinosaur fight. Kind of starting to lose my voice a little bit. Sorry, guys. Hopefully, yeah. I imagine the microphone's probably doing a decent job, it seems. Okay. Oops. Taking these couple requests here for possible topics, because yeah, we'll probably go down like that rabbit holes, I think, and for the next stream. The Godzilla guy in the suit, I think, is a good one we could cover for sure. Oh, wow. That's a lot of videos. Thanks. That's a lot. I imagine some of those old ones are really cringy at this point. I've gone back to a couple of them and I was just like, oh god, wow. It's a rough start. But hey, we're here now. We've come quite a long ways. I now actually have like, I'm surrounded by cameras and equipment, microphones and all that stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with what I've been able to accomplish so far with all this, so I appreciate it, and it's honestly all that's thanks to you guys, so yeah, I appreciate the encouragement, so that's really cool. Matt, yeah, oh. I remember like that first video I did in particular, I probably sounded really scared. Like, yeah, I was, yeah, not confident. But I think a lot of YouTubers generally kind of have that problem at the beginning. They're just kind of like, oh, hey, Claymationzilla, or Claymationzilla, thanks for joining us. I was wondering if you're going to be here today. So here, guys. There's a couple of people still kicking around, but not too many, I think, at this point. I think probably me searching things up is probably definitely not helping. But, yeah, going down some weird rabbit holes for future references. Or future topics. The man in the suit seems to be a popular one amongst everyone, and I got judged, I think, a little bit for not knowing that immediately, and I apologize, but I'm only human. I have so many things going through my head all at once. Catnap, okay, yeah, we got more Poppy Playtime sort of requests going on. That's been a thing that's, yeah, I've thought about for quite some time, I'll admit, is Poppy Playtime. Because I think that would be really, really, really kind of a good subgenre to go down. And there's one more thing I should probably look up. I'll look after. Let's get some spikes done. A little bit more work here, and then probably call it quits for the night. It's starting to get a little bit late on my end here, so. Oh god, that's way shorter. So now, I should probably make sure I'm staying on focus with the camera. It's usually here, not there, but what I'm basically working on is a bunch of spikes. So we're just driving those into the back. And clip. Should probably come up with a better strategy than that so I don't have to bend over and pick it off of the floor every time. But yeah. Oh god. I drilled some of those holes really deep. Which is probably a good thing because that means they're going to get a lot more support. What dinosaur movie is my favorite? I would definitely say Jurassic Park, the original. Even though that kind of did kill stop motion. But I'm willing to forgive it. It was a good film. Because originally the Jurassic Park movie was actually going to be all done in stop motion. And there's actually a couple... Damn it. Still, yeah. But there's actually a couple segments of stop motion from Jurassic Park that you can find on YouTube. Doesn't have any sound, so it's a little strange in that aspect because it's just quiet, you know what I mean? But it's kind of cool, and yeah. Sadly, that film is the one that is responsible for mainly kind of essentially making CG as big as it is and killing stop motion entirely. But I digress. Jurassic Park, the original. But the book is better. The same. Which is kind of what I first started talking about in the stream, but we veered off from that at this point. Definitely check out the book, though. If you guys have never read or gone through the Michael Crichton original Jurassic Park, it's definitely worth it. It is terrifying. And I definitely want to do some scenes from that book at some point. It'd be far more graphic than the actual movie, but that's okay. YouTube might not like it very much, but that's fine. I'll be willing to take that risk for that form of content. I like Jurassic Park, Jurassic World. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Indominus Rex fan. I'll admit I'm not a huge Indominus Rex fan. It is just the name itself is kind of like, oh, that's a little cringe, guys, and I just like hopefully this is kind of understandable, but I personally find that most of those animals are already really interesting and fascinating as is. Why do you need to turn it into a movie monster? I mean, it's, yeah. A cool concept, but I don't know if I was personally like the hugest fan of the whole hybrid dinosaur thing. It was just kind of like, yeah. Yeah. There's a lot to learn from just the normal animals and the species in that aspect in itself, and I think that's just kind of a big side distraction from that. Cool, but definitely not as interesting as the real thing in my opinion. But that's just me. No, I'm not going to finish Shimo on stream. If I did that, I would be, yeah, oof. Yeah, just to kind of help put that into reference, like, the skeleton, maybe? But even then, this stream would probably turn into, like, 12 hours, and I'm not leaving my house for the next day or two. But, because I have to finish all these back spikes just for the skeleton. Her tail still needs her little trident thing at the back. Legs need to be reattached. Skull has a ton of work to go through. Yeah, like this is technically just a little temporary head for Shimo. Obviously it doesn't have any spikes, so obviously I have to add the whole crown spike thing at the back. Then there's the teeth on top of that, then there's the lower jaw. section that I have to make that has to be very well done and make sure it's not going to be having any issues with, because if you screw that part up, basically your entire skull is now messed up because your lower jaw is now fused to the bottom, and then you can break a bunch of things. And breaking the face is just not a lot of fun because a lot of time and effort goes into usually making a skull, more than I maybe realistically need to, but I'm usually, It comes from making dinosaurs, where I usually like to make a very scientifically accurate interpretation of the actual skull. That way, it basically, once it starts having the clay layers formed on it, it becomes more accurate in the long run. So, no, not finishing Shimo on stream. If this was my full-time job, maybe I would take things like challenges like that into account, but unfortunately, I can't do that at this particular juncture in my life, so maybe in the future. Be sure to share, like, all that kind of self-promotion stuff so we can maybe get there one day. I'll just put it that way. Because, it would be kind of an interesting thing to try one day. But, borderline turning to speed running for sculpting at that point. I don't know how interactive I would have to be with the community if I was doing a stream like that. It would be okay, narrow focus on this only. I think you already told me the story about when I wasn't around. Yes, well, maybe. Okay, good. I'm not the only hater on Indominus Rex in the community for the most part. Because I'll admit, like, it's just, again, I think the real animals are really, really just fascinating on their own. It's not necessary to branch off into this whole other weird genre, right? Because it's cool, but you're kind of taking away from what the real thing is, which is just as fascinating in my opinion. So it's bad. There's I'm really I was really looking forward to the Spinosaurus returning. I can't emphasize that enough, because one of my earlier projects for dinosaurs was the 2020 Spinosaurus. Spinosaurus is like one of my favorite, and it's been requested a couple times to make the original JP one, which is obviously not a very accurate interpretation of what Spinosaurus looks like, which we all are well aware of, I imagine now. But I still would have really liked to see the return of that in the movie franchise. He did kind of make a return in the Camp Cretaceous series, which obviously is geared towards kids, but I honestly kind of enjoyed it. Like, I did watch it. I haven't seen any of the newer series at this particular juncture in time, but it wasn't bad. I did enjoy it. Definitely geared towards a younger audience, but I must give them credit because they did throw in some Easter eggs about the original book. So I was like, oh, cool. Brownie points for you guys there, because even the movie series hasn't done that. Because I believe one of the female characters in that series at some point essentially mentions that the original Jurassic Park owner died from a bunch of compies. It might be a bit of a spoiler, but the book ends very differently from the actual film. I'll put it that way. Very, very, very different. So, kind of embarrassing how he ends up passing away. But a lot more death, a lot more carnage. Definitely check out the book. There is actually some storyboarded versions out there, but nothing like very canon, so to speak, on that end. But I would personally like to see it. Maybe someday we'll get there. I know I've got an old friend who also does stop motion that I've also has been requested to do a lot of like comparison videos, but I think he's kind of ventured away from YouTube, unfortunately, at this point. What is my favorite metal band? That's actually a good question. I'm not surprised that's coming from you, Mr. Claymationzilla. I mean, I don't listen to too much metal at this particular juncture anymore, but probably one of my old classic favorites is whatchamacallit? Kick-Axe. Yeah. Very, very 1980s. The scream for the intro on that song was just epic. Like, it's just, oh, wow, that guy's got a pair of lungs. So, not a very, very common song, so to speak, but yeah, Kick-Axe is one of my favorite songs by them. I think it's one. See, I obviously can't play that because that is copyrighted, but I'll quickly look up, see what the band name is. I think it's Kick-Axe, but yeah, band name Kick-Axe, Heavy Metal Shuffle. Heavy Metal Shuffle is the song name that I'm referring to. Yeah. Next to that, Metallica is probably a decent one. I don't mind them either, too. But yeah, I haven't gone down that genre for quite some time, unfortunately. I'll have to return to it. What is my favorite horror monster? It's an interesting category. I have to think about that one just for a few minutes. Oh, okay. One that really stands out in my mind for as far as horror movie monsters kind of go. I don't know if this really counts because it's kind of like subhuman, not necessarily what I think this audience would necessarily expect as much. But there was a movie that came out a few years ago called Mama. Yeah, that whole film scared the living daylights out of me. That was creepy. The monster living inside this ghost monster mom living inside the walls. That was whew. Yeah. I can't remember exactly when that film came out, but yeah, that one really stuck with me. That was creepy. It didn't help that it was a bunch of little girls that were basically, hey mom, they want to hang out with this thing, and it was terrifying. Like, I don't want to be anywhere near that. What are you doing? Oh my god. Yeah. I digress. Mama, that one was creepy. I don't know if it was my favorite, but one that stuck with me over the years, I'll say that much. Oh yeah, I love the new GXK Godzilla. I made one, so he's hanging out just there. Finished him a couple weeks ago, or no, 1 week ago. 1 week ago now. Jeez, I don't sleep enough. My dates are all messed up. But yeah, I personally really like it. I think it kind of homages to whatchamacallit, the Millennial Godzilla back in the day, because he kind of had that same sort of pink hue kind of going on. Trying to finish up the last little bit of armature wires here, answer a couple more questions, go through a couple more chats on you guys, and then probably call it quits for the evening, so that way I can get a little bit more done off camera. Hopefully get to at least getting the skull started tonight, so you'll have to keep your post notifications on and find out what tomorrow's short is going to be like and see how far I actually was able to get. So yeah, there, cool, done all that stuff. Yeah, it's it's a very very dark movie. Considering my audience is probably a little bit younger, I don't know if I really recommend that. Like, it is terrifying. I remember watching that years ago, but yeah, I don't even know if I want to look at, like, the imagery from that film is terrifying, really bad. So. Yeah, I remember it was pretty popular for a while, and a lot of people did some sort of commentary on it because it was just terrifying. Yeah, older movie at this point. I can't remember when it came out though. Hi, Sweet Pea. Bullet My Valentine. Yeah, I listen to them. Yeah, they're actually still on my playlist quite a bit. So. What else do we got here? Oh wow, it's almost midnight over there. It's about 10 here, so I probably should be going to bed soon, but spike production. Hey Kingzilla, I think we're pretty much kind of wrapping things up at this particular juncture, so just kind of going through a few last things in the chat before I kind of say farewell to everybody. You listen to but I don't like this. No, the skinny body's kind of been something that a lot of people haven't really liked that much. I don't mind it. I kind of personally enjoyed sculpting a rather buff Zilla, for lack of a better term. However, he's got some back problems because of that, so before I do any major animations with that guy, we're probably going to end up doing a Godzilla surgery stream at some point, so that'll be kind of interesting. I'll probably be wearing a mask and have my scalpel and cutting through his back section, unfortunately, basically just adding a bit more armature wire and support. So what my plan on doing there is just adding like basically a curl around his initial back rod, or just stiffening it up completely. We'll see, but yeah. I like the design in that aspect, but I don't like it from a practical aspect for claymation because, yeah, that sucked. And yeah, he needs a little bit of a support rod, I've noticed. Okay, well yeah, it seems like a lot of my audience is pretty much ready for bed at this point, so I should probably call it quits, so hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to like the video, comment below what you think of the project, share with your friends, and, well, hopefully I guys see you next time. I might be streaming tomorrow. We'll probably be working on the skull at that particular juncture in time, as long as I'm able to get through these massive array of spikes that I have planned for this evening. So, that's enough from me. Till next time, take it easy, guys, and sleep well.